Hello, everyone. We're back. It's Around the World of Music, A to Z. How you doing, Anna? How's things?
Everything's good. Can't complain. New music is on the way, so be on the lookout for that.
Fantastic. It's been a very busy weekend here in my home country of Ireland, in Dublin. We've had lots of festivals. We've had Taylor Swift performing. We've had Shania Twain. We've got Doja Cat and everybody else like that. It's been some serious time for pop music at the moment. But we're not here to talk all about this type of well-known. You know us, we're nice and indie. We like to go underground. And we're going to a quite obscure place today. You want to tell us where we're headed off to today, Anna?
We're headed off to Andorra.
Andorra, indeed. Now, before we started recording, right, Anna was a bit confused. And I don't blame her, right? Because not a lot is really known about Andorra. And before we really go into the music of Andorra, we have to discuss what Andorra is. Okay? Time to do a little bit of history first, as is tradition on here. But this time it's not to do with music per se. I'm going to do a little bit about Andorra as a country, and then we'll get into the music. And trust me, this one will be a little bit shorter than some of our other episodes. So let's get into like a nice little micro-sized episode of A to Z around the world of music. All right, let's get started. So, what is Andorra? Okay, let me give you a few facts about it. It is the 16th smallest country by land, and it has the 11th smallest terms in population, with an estimated about 70,000 people living in Andorra. But where is Andorra, Anna? Do you want to tell us?
So Andorra, as I was told, is the love child, or I guess in between France and Spain.
That's right, yeah. And let's explore that a little bit more, okay? Andorra isn't actually in the EU, but it is recognized by the United Nations. So let's talk about the history of Andorra and how it kind of came to be. So once the Roman Empire fell, the area where we consider Andorra today fell under the rule of the Visigoths, whom controlled it for over 200 years. Have you ever heard of the Visigoths, Anna? And no, before you answer, it has nothing to do with goth music.
Wow. You think
How
that was on my
disappointing.
mind?
I would have just assumed you were going to say something like that, but I don't know. They are not warriors dressed in black and white, you know, and moping about the place. No, they were a Germanic group, Germanic and kind of Spanish kind of group who controlled the area for like over 200 years. The thing is, these group would actually battle with the Moors, our old friends from the last episode we talked about in Algeria. The Moors were a Muslim group who hailed from North Africa who invaded Spain. And this area of Andorra was quite strategically important because while the Visigoths lost to the Moors, our good friends, the Franks, defended Andorra very heavily in this, like, around the 400s, let's say. Where do you think the Franks are from, Anna?
Oh man, I'm gonna assume they're from France.
You are correct, in which the name comes from, as a matter of fact. All right.
I almost thought Frankfurt for a second.
Well, you know what? They could have been. You never know. Maybe that's the new Franks. If people in Frankfurt, are they Frankfurtians? Are they just the Franks? Whatever
Who
they
knows?
want to go by. We'll ask any listeners out in Frankfurt, what do you call yourselves? Anyways, thanks in part to
Continue.
geography, and thanks in part to a significant figure, the leader of the Franks by the name of Charlemagne, who is a big figure within Andorra, and it features in their national anthem. Their entire national anthem is dedicated to Charlemagne. Andorra was granted protection from many of the different shifting religious and political influences of the region. And as a result, Andorra has remained majority kind of Catholic, and church music has been a big staple part of the region. We won't get too much into that for today. We might leave that kind of separately when we go into talking about religious music of different countries. However, there's one key factor we need to acknowledge here about Andorra, and its language. So they don't speak Spanish. Well, they do speak Spanish, but they don't speak it as the majority language. And because it's in between Spain and France, what language do you think they actually speak, Anna?
Like if they're in between France and Spain, I'm gonna assume that one of them may be Catalan, and they're probably speaking Spanish, maybe some French too, since they're in
Well, yeah,
between places.
Officially, the official language is Catalan, as you said. Yeah, they do speak a bit of Spanish. They do speak a bit of French, and there's a handful of Portuguese in there, which I'm sure you'll be delighted to hear. But most of its music is sung in Catalan, and has a lot more similarities to Latin rather than Spanish or French. Right?
Wow.
Technically, Andorra is considered a principality, which is granted by Charlemagne and has been ever since. But it is also a recognized state, a recognized country. So with that history out of the way, with that brief little history out of the way, let's get into the music, okay? So most Andorran folk music is either related to both Catalan and French music, given its location. It's been mostly impacted by Catalan music and particularly Renaissance polyphony, which we've mentioned before. Polyphony, of course. This is when two or more medleys are played at the same time. What is interesting is that the country can be split in half in terms of its musical influences. So in the south, you've got Spanish composers, and in the north, you would have the French composers. So you could definitely call it polyphonic in terms of their collaboration, especially with church music in particular. Fortunately for us, a lot of this church music is archived in various books and 13th century manuscripts, including, now here comes my pronunciation mistakes once again, but I believe it is the Livre Vermel de Montserrat, or simply known in English, the Red Book of Montserrat. Really important for church music, apparently. Anyways, at times, during a lot of its power shifts and changing hands between the French and Spanish authorities, Catalan as a language was actually outlawed on several occasions. This definitely started to change around the 19th century when we enter the cultural revival moment known as the Renaissance. Okay, Renaissance. Schools were opened with a goal of being trilingual, so up to 3 languages. Now, I believe you are trilingual, Anna, are you not?
Yes, I am trilingual.
What do you speak?
I speak English as my first language, Portuguese as my second, and then I speak Spanish as my third.
And is there any language you would like to learn?
Oh, I'd love to learn, again, I'd love to learn Italian and French. I would also love to learn Greek as well.
Ooh.
Just to have on my roster. I find it such, an interesting language as well.
Good stuff.
And things that, would love to learn as well is Japanese and Russian. Just to have, all those underneath my belt, but we'll see
all
which
of these
one I learn.
languages would come so much in handy when it comes to research and when it comes to those respective countries. Me, on the other hand, I guess technically I'm bilingual. I do speak Irish. I do speak English. I know a handful of Portuguese.
Yes.
That's not too bad. I did have to learn French in school, but a lot of it has escaped my memory. Let's get back into the music of Catalonia and how it really inspired Andorra. So, Time-wise, because there was a little bit of a renaissance, this couldn't have been more perfect for opera, as it began being imported into parts of Catalonia and Andorra from Italy, allowing composers to choose whatever language they deemed appropriate for their respective audiences to play. So if you were in one part of Catalonia or Andorra, you might play in, say, Spanish. In another part, you might do it in French. And if you weren't really sure, well, fuck it, just go for Italian because it sounds nice, right? But what about its own homogenous music? Well, that's a little bit trickier to answer. Andorra technically did not create its own genre of music, but rather allowed influences from other countries to take hold, most notably, obviously, northern Spain and the Catalan people. So from Catalonia, we get a variety of instruments, genres, and particularly dances, which we're going to focus on heavily, that are very popular, and they're performed at festivals around the year. The first is known as the sardanes, or sardana, if it's only one dancer. Sardanes involves up to anywhere between 8 to 12 dancers, both male and female. They often hold hands and form a circle while displaying light footwork with hops, jumps in 1 or 2 or 3 step movements. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to include a video of this for you. But for our audio listeners on Spotify and elsewhere, basically just picture people holding up their hands in a circle. They are moving around, just kind of displaying their kind of leg work and stuff like that. If you've
kind of
ever
like Ring
at,
Around the Rosie, that nursery rhyme.
You could say so.
Me of that.
You could say so. A more advanced version of Ring Around the Rosie, but yeah, sure, why not? The thing about it is, it's a very medieval type of dance, as you'll notice, and it's survived a very, very long time. It's been, rumored to have started as early as like the 12th century, so it's been around for a very long time. The genre has been around since the medieval ages, but it was definitely revolutionized by a Catalan composer by the name of Josep Maria Ventura Casas, or better known as Pep Ventura. All right. So these professional dancers are known as sardanistes, and their groups are often called cola or clubs. The music that goes along with this type of dance is played on woodwind instruments, including the Catalonian instrument, the flabiol, which is a wooden 12-hole flute. And I'll give you a listen to that now. You also have the likes of a bass playing along and a tambourine, which is a small hand drum. Okay. I'm going to step away to Spain just for a second, because during the 1940s, the dance was actually banned in its home country of Spain during General Franco's regime, as he saw it fomenting false sense of pride among the Catalans. It just wouldn't be an episode of A to Z around the world of music if we didn't mention a genre of music or something cultural that was banned. Right, Anna?
Yeah, apparently music has been banned various times.
This is becoming a reoccurring theme. I promise we'll find somewhere where people are just genuinely cool with music and it hasn't been touched. Hopefully. I wonder what country that will be. Well, maybe we'll find out next episode. Who knows? Anyways, what is nice about the dance is that it's relatively simple to get used to, and dancers perform in public squares in numerous circles and encourage young and old to join in with them. So, hey, and if we ever find ourselves in the likes of Andorra or Barcelona and we see this type of stuff, we're more than welcome to join, apparently. So there you go.
No, great.
All right. Sardana. A variation of the sardana that is popular in Andorra is known as the contrapas, or counter in English. The name refers to the combination of steps that are marked. That is, one step followed by another in the opposite direction to the first. The thing is, where the two differ is that the contrapas often splits dancers into two partners at points who mirror each other's foot movements in counter rhythm. So I'm going to show you a little video of that too. But again, for our audio listeners, if you put your left leg forward, I will put my right leg forward, right? Then typically circles kind of form around the partners, and the dance starts in one position and usually ends in the same by the time the dance is over. The thing is, musically, there's very little difference, but the time signature may change to accommodate for certain contrapas moves to be made. So if they want to speed it up, the music obviously gets a little bit faster. This style of dance is played exclusively at religious festivals and national holidays, mostly around Easter time. There's one last thing within Sardana. We have the Marata, which is a lot more gypsy inspired. It's faster paced, and while the same elements of dancing style is included here, there is a lot of more hand movements with the twisting of the wrists and even spinning to add to the mix. Sadly, I can't really find a lot of footage of this, but basically, there's a lot more kind of hand movements rather than just relying on the feet all the time. Okay. Now, I told you this is going to be a quick episode because we're already up to the modern contributions of Andorra's music. All right.
My goodness, that was fast.
I know. How time flies when you're having fun here with us, guys. So, at the beginning of the 20th century, we have a few notable Andorran composers. I'm going to focus on one whose music has been transcribed in both piano and guitar pieces. His name is Enrique Granados, and he wrote a lot of classical piano medleys, or as we come to know it, chamber music. So this is the type of music you lock yourself away from the outside world and you think and you ponder in your armchair. So it's quite nice. Have a listen to it. Okay, he reached critical and international acclaim when he would perform not only in Europe, but into the new budding United States music scene in the early 1910s. And he would even play to the then president Woodrow Wilson. I have to comment on the most exciting part of this guy's life, which sadly is actually about his death, right?
Oh, God.
Here we go. In 1916, poor Enrique, he missed a ship from New York back to Spain. So he boarded another one that was destined for England. So he makes it to England, but from there he needs to take a ship to France. So he has to cross the French Channel. Now, the year is 1916, Anna. What is happening in Europe around this time?
World War I?
You are correct. So the boat that he was on departed the English Channel, and it was struck by a German U-boat torpedo, and it capsized. According to survivor reports, Granados' wife was too heavy to enter a lifeboat. Yes, that really says a lot of comments about the weight and how much lifeboats could support. I don't know if that's still the same way today, but that didn't bother Enrique, though, because he refused to leave her behind. And he crafted a small life raft where the two of them hung on to until they eventually drowned, unfortunately. However, a more dramatic account is that he dived into the water to save his wife. He saved her, but then he perished. Irregardless, what a heroic husband either way. Would you like that, Anna? Would you like someone to save you from a drowning ship?
I mean, in the moment, if I was drowning, yes. But
yeah,
the tragedy that would come afterward, I wouldn't want that.
Absolutely not. So rest in peace, big man. He went out very chivalrous, I have to say. Okay, so we're moving forward here now. Fast forward a few centuries and we have a handful of different Andorran bands that I gotta comment on. And I also have to mention Andorra's Eurovision debacle. Now, before we get into that, Anna and I recently watched this year's 2024's Eurovision. It was the first time you'd ever seen Eurovision, correct, Anna?
Yes, it was the first time I ever saw Eurovision. I knew of it, but yeah, first time ever watching one.
As an American, what do you think of it?
No, again, it's first of all, it's super lively.
Mhm.
It does have, like some of its, more serious looking artists, does have, those more eccentric looking artists. It's a very entertaining kind of show to watch, for everybody to
Mhm.
get on board with. So, yeah, it was entertaining. I will say that. Definitely a quirkier than anything I've ever seen here in the States.
To me, I enjoy Eurovision a lot, particularly because of just the cringe element of it. It is
Yes, they are both
entertainingly
great.
awkward. It's entertainingly awkward. I think it knows that. It's very tongue in cheek. But let's talk about Andorra's participation with the Eurovision. So, a band with a very unique name is up first. We have Anonymous, not to be confused with the internet group. By the way, I'm curious, where are you guys? It's been a minute. We haven't heard from Anonymous. We do not forget, it seems the world has kind of forgotten about them. I'm sure they're still out there. I'm sure they're still active. But, anyways, Anonymous was the country's somewhat successful entrant into the Eurovision Song Contest in 2007
Wow.
with their hit song Salvem El Mon, or Save the World. Although the country has been involved in the competition since 2004, Anonymous managed to secure their 12th place with this hit song. So take a listen to this.
Ja no entenc per què tot el món va al revés i no volem trobar solucions als problemes que hi ha. No vulguis ser el que no és. Sempre estàs pensant en si vius bé i no hi ha temps per lo de més. El món en joc i no fa res. Tots estem d'acord que podem fer, podem unir-nos, fer-ho bé. Reflexiona tu mateix, tu mateix. Left, right, up and down, turn upside down. That's how we treat the war right now. Can't hide the fact that it's happening.
As you can see, it's a very pop punk kind of song. Brilliant hairstyles. A good friend of mine, shout out to Jay. That is definitely your haircut. Definitely his style of hair, and a lot of style of hair. Hey, who are we fooling? We all had that period of fashion back in the day. Anyways, so they performed to hundreds in Helsinki at the time. So the song is partly sang in Catalan and partly sang in English, and most, if not all, of Andorra's music is sung in a combination of the two. Unfortunately, though, given Andorra's tiny population compared to the rest of Europe, it isn't a shock that they didn't receive enough televotes, and they kind of failed to impress a lot of judges at the time either. Still, to come 12th as a very small country, it's no easy feat, so fair play to them. This is where we run into a bit of trouble, though. Previous and following years proved difficult for Andorra's Eurovision chances, as most failed to qualify, and their national broadcaster constantly struggled with budgeting issues, trying to enter the competition and trying to find worthy contestants. So as a result, Andorra has not participated in the Eurovision since 2009, which is a real shame. So if there is any Andorrans listening here, we would love to welcome you back. If you can figure out that mess as to how to get the right contestants and how to fund it, that'd be fantastic. All right, let's talk about some well-known Andorran bands. Hey, Anna, are you a fan of metal?
Yes, I do love me some good metal.
You do love you some good metal. Then you're going to like this band. They're known as Personifi, or Persephone. Does that name ring a bell? Have you ever heard of that name before?
No, it does. It does actually. Really?
It's named after, I believe it's a character from Greek mythology. If I'm not mistaken, it is either a relation of Hades or it's his wife, I think. Anyways, this band, they formed in 2001 in the capital, and they've had great success in the progressive death metal scene.
Yeah, exactly.
They've toured internationally. They've even worked on Japanese-influenced album Shinken in 2010. I'm going to play you a handful of their music. Have a listen to this kind of mix of Personify. Have a listen to this. There you go. If you're big into your metal music, enjoy that. Another band that popped up on my radar, which is a little bit more traditional, is Els Pali, or Ellis Pali, who perform as a three-piece band. They take inspirations from Spanish music, mamba, and folk tunes, and they're definitely worth a listen. So take a listen to one of their tunes here.
S'han portat el vent de migdia la farina del cim i tot és verd a cada racó del Pirineu. M'agrada tant com el color blau marí, passejar a vora del riu que cau de la muntanya i viure davant.
And last but not least, we have Hysterio Funk, who are a jazz-infused indie band. So this is right up your street, Anna. Who are one to watch as well. I'm going to link the YouTube channel of those guys because they have a plethora of different tunes and concert footage. And we've come to the end of our Andorran journey here on A to Z around the world of music. How do you feel, Anna? Was that nice and quick?
I'm gonna be honest, Ian. I actually managed to get a lot of questions right this time for the smallest episode, which I find hilarious.
Well, don't feel too smug too soon, because you know what time it is.
Oh boy, I just jinxed it.
Okay, all right. So, Andorra is a country that is very mountainous. It's known for having plenty of different mountains. It's known for having a lot of different ski resorts. If I was going to ski in Andorra, Anna, what are the names of the mountains in which I would ski at?
Oh my goodness gracious. No, I don't know. I don't know. That's a question that oh my goodness.
Now think of it. It's between France and Spain.
No,
So what are some famous mountains around there?
I don't know.
Okay, well, it's not the Alps, but it is the Pyrenees, which run along the coast of Catalonia, France. Kind of peeks into a little bit of Italy as well. Beautiful mountain ranges. Must be gorgeous to go out there and ski. And who knows? Maybe now you know a lot more about Andorra, and maybe you know a lot more about their music as well. As always, guys, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time with a bigger and bolder country with hopefully a little bit more research behind it. But until then, guys, take care of yourselves. And Anna, when can we expect to hear some new music from yourself?
I'm hoping by the end of July right now, so keep your ears open, and there may be another one coming in August. So back-to-back
Fantastic.
releases, you know?
Woo, fantastic. All right, guys. See you then. Take care. Bye.
Bye!